Come, Holy Spirit. When Jesus rose from the dead, the first gift that he gave to us was the Holy Spirit. Appearing to those 12 disciples, he said to them, or I should say the 11 disciples, he said to them, receive the Holy Spirit. Whose sins you forgive are forgiven them, whose sins you retain are retained. God himself, the third person of the Blessed Trinity, given to us, and is called the Holy Spirit. Because like the wind, you cannot predict where he will move. And I'd like to give you the example of a life of a very amazing person who illustrates how the Holy Spirit works. This woman was born in the middle of the 19th century. It was a difficult time for the church. Charles Darwin, Karl Marx were all attacking Christianity in the name of science. The world faced an economic upheaval which caused millions to migrate from Europe to the United States. And even though many of those immigrants came to these shores, they were losing their faith one by one. The Holy Spirit did something unexpected. He touched the heart of a girl in northern Italy, little Francesca. And she told her sister Rosa that she was going to be a missionary. Her sister laughed at her. You, a missionary? Come on. She said, Rosa, when I was confirmed, when Holy Chrism was placed upon my head, I experienced something that I cannot explain to you, but something happened to me. I know it was the Holy Spirit. Francesca would go on to apply to 2 different convents, and they would turn her down. She was refused to enter those orders because of her poor health. And so a priest approached her one day and he said, Francesca, I'd like you to care for some orphan children, some children who are in need in our parish. Well, Francesca set herself to work, and amazingly, through her work, other women were attracted to what she was doing. They began to band together and began to create a religious order. And they had big plans to head to China when Francesca met with the Pope. He told her, no, I want you to go to America. The immigrants, the Italian immigrants especially, need you. And the rest is history. In 1889, Mother Frances Cabrini arrived on the shores of New York with her small little band of sisters. With practically no resources, they began to build orphanages, schools, hospitals, beginning first in New York, then moving to Chicago, and then other cities across this great nation. And how did she do it? The Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. When asked for an explanation, Mother Cabrini said she did not consider herself so much an instrument of God. She said, I'm a spectator of his work through me. In Seattle, for instance, she was looking for a site for an orphanage, and she found that perfect spot on the shore of Lake Washington. Expensive real estate, and those days costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. She approached a real estate magnate by the name of Henry Broderick. She was a bit nervous because she had very little funds, but yet she was able to purchase that property. And guess how much she paid for that property? 1 rosary. 1 rosary bought her that property. The Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. Mr. and Mrs. Broderick kept that glass bead rosary on the walls of the office that he had. God evidently blessed him too. He lived, he prospered for another 65 years, although he and his wife never had children. Through the work of Mother Cabrini, the door was open. The Holy Spirit worked through them, and they donated hundreds of thousands of dollars so that orphan children could have an education. Mother Cabrini gave them a channel for their stewardship. She used their generosity to help people in distress. It all began when a small girl, Francesca Cabrini, realized it was the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit working through her. How might the Holy Spirit be working through you? Mother Cabrini's life shows that we do not know how or when the Holy Spirit is going to act. Maybe it's tonight, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's next year. He enabled her to confront what seemed like an insurmountable obstacle in her life, starting with her own poor health. She wasn't fit. She wasn't even fit to be a nun. But look at what she went on to do. Look at what she went on to do. When things went badly, she saw it as a sign of blessing. Difficulties, she said, difficulties, they're merely scarecrows to frighten children. And she went to work, despite the obstacles. Once Mother Cabrini wrote to one of her sisters who was fighting depression. She said to her, "My dearest daughter, why, dearest daughter, do you waste time in sadness when time is so precious for the salvation of souls?" And she added to her, she said, "Get rid of your melancholy immediately. Do you think any more about yourself? Don't." Many believe that Mother Cabrini herself suffered from depression in her life. But how did she overcome it? The Holy Spirit. She battled that demon of depression, but she gave her firm will to God through the Holy Spirit, a will that helped her to focus on herself, on others, with a joyful heart. The Holy Spirit can do unexpected things. You might have things planned. The Holy Spirit will surprise you. The life of Mother Cabrini shows what can happen when a person opens to the power of the Holy Spirit. Like her, we want to say, "Come, Holy Spirit." This past spring, the movie Frances Cabrini was released. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to see it. I'm assuming that it'll probably be out on DVD soon, maybe perhaps even this summer. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. The power of the Holy Spirit. What God can do if we simply open our hearts to the Holy Spirit.